There are some winners. Felder, you mentioned it.
Yeah.
We got to talk about the Shedeur Sanders size elephant in the room. Yeah. You phrased it right. We call it a surprise. He is not a loser, but it's hard to look at the situation and not now feel bad for the young man at this point. And one of the worst slides that we've seen.
5 QBs off the board. He was none of them.
I'm gonna be honest, man. Like, if you're laughing about this, like, you're probably kind of a piece of garbage. Like, this is not good. And unlike some guys who, quote unquote, get wrong advice.
Sure.
No, he didn't get wrong advice. He got the advice, and then the teams just decided, no, not going to do it. So I don't know what their thought process was. I don't understand it. I'm sure the stories will come out at some point, but this isn't like a kid that doesn't know anything about the draft getting told by his uncle that you should go in because you can get some money. This is a guy who has all the resources in the world and has all the numbers that you need. Like 74% of his passes are completions. Like, come on, man.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
And Dame, I think to Felder's point about a lot of things are going to be written and talked about. We knew the narrative going into the draft was, oh, how he interviewed. Yeah. Oh, the Dion factor of it all.
Right.
A guy with made money already coming out of college who comes from a family with it already here. Are the results that we're seeing now kind of bearing out that this response from the NFL might mean that some of what's been written about has some truth to it there?
Could be. I know, like I said, at the end of the day, you think about the fact of teams not wanting me getting the text or the quote that they tried to call Coach Brown LeVar Ball, and it was like not wanting to deal with the circus and different things of that nature. And it's just like, at some point, even the anonymous quote that came out about the NFL exec said that Shedeur made you feel small. And I tweeted it out. There's no way in the world you are cut out for this business as an NFL exec to say he made you feel small. A draft prospect, a young man made you, who was probably 40, 50, 60 years old, because you've probably been in this game a long time, that he made you feel small. That is a ridiculous statement to make. And for me, it's just a fact of Cleveland, we got on you. You needed the quarterback. Yep. You said we're going to get Dylan Gabriel. We could put the tape on side by side, and you're going to have to show me where Dylan Gabriel is a better quarterback than Shedeur Sanders. I get it. He's bravado. He's got a lot of confidence in himself. And
that's a good thing.
That's a great thing.
Right. And that's the double standard with all of this, right? Is so much of what we talk about in that is stuff that we lionize and prioritize for other positions, other players that don't have that last name. He helped
change 2 different programs. And typically, in college, when the quarterback does, I love Kyle McCord out of Syracuse, who transferred from Ohio State to Syracuse.
Yeah.
He changed Syracuse's program in 2024.
Yep.
My ex-Cam Ward in Miami, why they didn't go to the CFP. It was Kyle McCord in that offense that put points up and knocked them out of the playoff contention, man. I love that type of stuff. That's the storyline you want. A guy that can come in who's not afraid of the bright lights, a guy who's tough, do you have to build a stone wall in from him? Do you have to spend $200 million on your offensive line for Shedeur? No, you don't, because he knows how to throw from muddy pockets when he does set his feet and just say, you know what? I know I'm going to get hit. Screw it. I'm going to get this ball out. It's just like you said, if people are laughing about it, okay, cool. Get your jokes off, get your laughs off. But this is not a good thing. This is not a good thing for the league, because at the same time, you also have to you're telling the young college players that's coming in, okay, so if you come into our meeting room at the Combine overconfident, we're going to dislike that.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think it's also different at different levels, right? The confidence when you're thinking, and originally, because remember, after the season and going back to last year, the talk was Shedeur Sanders could be in contention to be the top quarterback off the board. That's overplaying your hand if you think you're in that conversation and coming in with that kind of bravado. But he's been a value for the minute the clock started today. And quite honestly, at the end of beginning of round number 2, I should say. Yeah. He was a value at that point if you had picked him here.
Yes.
It's insane, and now turning into somewhat of an underdog story. Mel Kiper Jr., I saw him banging on the table for Shedeur Sanders and referenced Tom Brady as someone that people passed on and regretted. That's the kind of chip, the boulder that you're putting on this young man's shoulder.
Absolutely.
For all the success he's had, Felder, he's going to walk into an NFL camp somewhere ticked off about the way this went.
Yeah. It's just like we said before. Like, this is a guy that just, I think there should be value in a guy that he just wants to play football.
Yeah.
He just wants to play quarterback.
You said it, he doesn't have to.
He doesn't have to.
He doesn't have, but
He
here's
just wants to.
Here's the flip side of this thing. You're worried about his confidence now. You put that boulder on his shoulder, and he comes out here and he becomes a Pro Bowl quarterback, and you get him that second contract. You're really not going to like the fact because now it's that simple aspect of you passed up on me time and time again. You said these things about
Every
me.
single one of the teams in the entire NFL passed on him multiple times.
Multiple times. So he comes out here and he actually hits as a day 3 pick. Yeah, you probably are going to hate to have to deal with him because he is going to talk trash to your defense as he's slicing and dicing with his offense. Like you don't want to have to deal with that. It's just you're going to create a bigger monster than you portrayed.
It's already been created.
Yeah, 100%. It has been.
It is one of the more surprising draft developments we've seen in recent memory. And a guy that, again, I never thought was the #1 pick in the draft, but man, feels like a value on day 3. And day 3 is exactly where you will see my 2 co-hosts tomorrow.